Hey, you guys, welcome to day 17 of our March Madness practice questions. As always, I like to do my intro and our disclaimer before getting into any material. For those of you who are familiar with me, hey, y'all. For those of you who are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Brittany Weinstock. I am a family nurse practitioner and founder and CEO of the Nursing Studio. I provide resources to help nurses as well as nurse practitioners be successful on boards as well as in practice. So let's get into our questions. I always like to tell you guys to remember that there's no absolutes in medicines and that we treat on a patient by patient basis. But when I am providing questions, know that these questions are designed for the guidelines that are currently on the current exam that you are preparing for. So they may vary some for what we are currently doing in practice. And if I'm discussing things that you should know for practice, I will tell you that so there's no confusion. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we get into our questions. All right. Let's see. Question number one for today. Would it come up? A patient presents to the office today to have an area on the side of their trunk evaluated. The nurse practitioner notes a flat, discolored area with uneven borders. Based on these findings, what would be the best diagnosis? Is it A, actinic keratosis, B, melanoma, C, squamous cell carcinoma, or D, seborrheic dermatitis? Take a moment and tell me what you think in the comments. All right. I always recommend reading the stem of the question first to ensure that you're answering what is even being asked of you. It slows you down to give you an opportunity to really see what's being asked. So here it says, based on these findings, what would be the best diagnosis? And I always say, if we're talking about diagnosis, then you need to take it back and see what their assessment has shown. How are they presenting themselves? What are those signs and symptoms? What are the subjective and objective findings that we have thus far? So the patient has come in to have an area on their trunk evaluated, right? The nurse practitioner is looking at this area and notes that it is flat, discolored, and has uneven borders. So you need to start thinking of your derm stuff and thinking about what presents this way. Classically, with derm things on exams, those key identifiers are going to be the key to your success, right? So, is it A, actinic keratosis? Hmm, so we'll keep it, but no. Melanoma, B, yes. Think about what melanoma is. Melanoma is typically discolored, um, or darker in color, is common for having uneven borders. It's flat. That's classic for melanoma. So your answer is B. But also, you should be able to, if you're stuck and not sure, try to eliminate what you don't know. Actinic keratosis, like we were talking about, this is usually seen in like the elderly population in the sun exposed areas. So those bald head guys, or on their shoulders and things, if they haven't been wearing a hat and things of that nature, on their face, if they haven't been shielding, that's classically what we see with actinic keratosis. This is on their trunk. So, although, I mean, if you had on a bathing suit or something, but commonly that wouldn't be that, right? So you could have eliminated actinic keratosis, squamous cell. We know it's red and ulcerated. Again, this is more discolored. It's uneven. It's flat, not ulcerated. You can eliminate that, right? And then seborrheic dermatitis. What is that? How does that present? So just thinking through those, because with this, although the coloration and things may vary, you can't tell. This is typically the elevation things are different than with melanoma, right? So just process of elimination. And when we're talking about derm, pay attention to location. If it's on the image for ANCC, or if they mention like here trunk, know this, and pay attention to those key identifiers. All right. Question number two. The nurse practitioner is discussing the GINA guidelines for asthma management with the NP student. There is a patient who is currently taking a low dose combo inhalant of budesonide and formoterol PRN. The patient continues to be symptomatic. What is the next best step? Is it A, stop this medication? B, add a low dose maintenance regimen of this inhalant? C, add an inhaled corticosteroid? Or D, no changes, continue to monitor? Take a moment and tell me what you think in the comments. All right. So stimulus question states the patient continues to be symptomatic. What is the next best step? All right. So we're trying to figure out what we're doing next. So what's going on already? We're talking about GINA guidelines for asthma management, and then there's a patient with asthma who's currently on the low dose combo inhalant of budesonide and formoterol PRN, but they're still not having complete coverage, right? Because they're still symptomatic. So would you A, stop the medicine? No, there's no benefit in stopping the medication. B, add a low dose maintenance regimen of this inhalant? Yes, according to those GINA guidelines, steps 1 and 2 are to be on the budesonide and formoterol um, inhalant PRN, right? But if they're still having that breakthrough and they're symptomatic, you want to still remain on a low dose, but on a maintenance regimen, meaning that they're on it daily and not just as needed. So B would be your best answer. C, you don't need to add an inhaled corticosteroid. Budesonide is already an inhaled corticosteroid, right? Formoterol is your LABA, and then D, no changes to continue to monitor that wouldn't solve anything here. So again, B, add a low dose maintenance regimen of this inhalant. All right. And then question number 3, the nurse practitioner has diagnosed the patient with iron deficiency anemia. She is planning her treatment for this patient. What is the best treatment for this patient? Is it A, ferrous sulfate, 325 milligrams PO/TID, B, ferrous sulfate, 325 milligrams PO daily, C, ferrous sulfate weekly, or D, epigen? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments. All right, stem of the question states, what is the best treatment for this patient? So, what is the diagnosis? Again, if they're talking treatment, you need to take it back and figure out what is the diagnosis? Have we come up with a differential? How did they present? We're stepping back. And so, this here is already stating that they have a diagnosis of iron deficiency anemia, and A will be your best answer. We know that we give them ferrous sulfate, but a common thing that I see people miss is how often you give it. And so if you are presented with this on the exam, you need to know that it is given 3 times a day, not just daily. The guidelines say 3 times a day, okay? All right, you guys. That is everything for today. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and share with whomever you may think may find this beneficial as well. If you are in need of any of our resources, such as our online self paced course or our group 5-week intensive, any of our one on one sessions, please reach out to the nursing studio at 803-400-6864 or shoot us an email at the nursing studio, the number 1 at gmail.com. We look forward to working with you. Happy studying. Bye, y'all.